Hello, I'm Brian Glick. I'm the Editor-in-Chief of Computer Weekly. In this video, we're going to be talking about AI, artificial intelligence. Now, this is a subject I'm sure you have heard or read a lot about over the last year or two. It's occupying a lot of headlines in business. There's a lot of conversation about it, not just in business, even at government, international levels. You may, in your organisation, may have dabbled with it. You might have looked at it. You might be doing quite a lot with it. Who knows? But there's still quite a lot of variation among organisations as to the approaches they're taking towards AI. So what I'm going to do in this video is try and find out a little bit more about what people are spending their AI money on and how are they spending money on AI to try and drag out some of the early experiences that organisations are having. Now, to help me do that, I'm joined by Brandon Till. Brandon is the Head of Transformation at Soldo. Brandon, welcome.
Thank you, Brian.
Now, Brandon, you obviously work with all sorts of organisations who are all sorts of different levels of maturity where it comes to their thinking and their approach towards AI. Looking at across the market as a whole, what would you say are the main factors that have got us to this point now where everybody is talking about AI? What are the factors and the reasons why this has become such a topic of conversation in business?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's become a topic of conversation because people are using it. And at Soldo, we work with mainly mid to large and enterprise organizations, but companies of all size. And we recently released a report looking at how these companies have been spending and where are they investing in AI. And we looked at where are they spending this year compared to the same time last year. And we saw it was a 449% increase in investments in AI. So I think we hear about it a lot because businesses are using it more and more and people are using it more and more. And this is just investment in new tools that they weren't spending in before. We also see it built into a number of the apps and the software that you use today. Microsoft has a Copilot and Google has an AI integration. So all these tools, and that's not included in this because that's tools that you've already been using that added AI. This is just extra spending in AI. And I think that we see them using it because there's a need for productivity and there's this need for efficiency for a few reasons. One, the technology has progressed in a way that it is useful, that people can use it and get more efficiency in their job. It's also, there's a pressure right now for teams to do more with less or more with the same. As the economy is a bit uncertain and as maybe hiring slows, people have a responsibility to maintain production even though the teams might not be growing. So how do you do more with less? They look for new tools and new technology. And that's where we see them spending in AI tools.
That number that you quoted there, I know it because I've got it written down here. I can remember it. That 449% rise in investment. I mean, that's remarkable for in any area of any business to see that sort of rapid increase in spending, which, as you say, that just shows how much interest there is from organisations in doing this. With those organisations that you talk to, in practical terms, what are they spending that money on? How are they actually implementing these tools? What sort of tools are they implementing? What are they doing with them?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's an interesting view we can have at Soldo because we can look across all these businesses and get a sense of exactly where are they spending. And so as we unpack it a little bit, we saw that the number one tool that companies use is OpenAI or ChatGPT, which comes for a lot of reasons. This could be your marketing teams working on copy or brainstorming. This could be, I know developers use it to help with code and develop code snippets. And so it's a powerful tool. But I think what's interesting is that we saw this accounted for more than 50% of the spending increase. I think it's a strategic purchase for these companies. They've gone through and they've planned to say, hey, we're going to use this as a company. The other one, it's not strategic, but we see so many, so that's it. Number two, I believe, is a company called Midjourney. They do image generation. They were around 12%, so it's quite a lot less, but it's the number two. And there was hundreds of other tools. Some of them purchased just one time. And so these weren't strategic purchases. These were really ad hoc purchases we saw different employees making on different tools. And so I think, to me, that's really interesting, is that you have both the strategic, we're going to purchase ChatGPT and use that as a business across different departments. But we also see people saying, I have this specific problem right now or this specific task that I'm doing, and AI can help me achieve this. And this is things like AI headshots, where you can upload pictures of yourself and it will generate a nice looking headshot for a business. So it's, that's not something that's a subscription or people do all the time, but it was a need at the time that people can do. We see them using it for a number of tools, both strategically and ad hoc as needed to drive productivity and efficiency wherever it's needed.
Let's drill down then, perhaps, if we can. You talked about the type of tools that people are using. Can I drill down a bit more into where they're using it? Look at some of the key functions and departments within a business. Are you seeing particular trends there? Is it being used in some departments more than others? How is that sort of playing out?
Yeah, so in the Spend Index, this report we recently released, it does break it down by some different departments where you can see that the number one user of AI so far is marketing. And that does the image generation is often attributed to marketing, a lot of copywriting. There's also a lot of SEO tools. Things like that was where they get lumped into the marketing spend. They're the number one spenders across the business. Number two actually comes across as support or customer success. And it's largely driven by chatbots. And if you've gone onto websites, you might have interacted with the chat. And they're getting quite good. Just from personal experience, that I'm able to get my questions answered, and you can see that it is a robot, and it is, whether it's AI powered or not, it's able to work pretty well to give answers. So that's a solution we see helping. That's the number two, and just below that is sales. And sales is using AI, the tools that they're investing in. It's a somewhat copy, but it's mostly around AI lead generation, ways to find companies, ways to identify prospects or accounts that they might want to be selling to. So that's 1, 2, and 3 would be marketing, customer success, and then sales as the third department. I'd say just as interesting, though, is where we don't see the spending quite yet. Where with finance, we don't see many finance people investing in AI quite yet. I think they're preparing to, but we don't see a lot of spending from the finance team using their own tools for AI.
That's an interesting point. As somebody who's coming from a technology rather than a finance perspective, it strikes me that a finance team is going to be somewhere where AI could bring huge benefits. Now, you obviously provide software for those finance teams. What's your thinking about that in terms of, should you be providing those sort of capabilities for them? When will they need those sort of capabilities?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Soldo, we're a spend management tool. We help them gain control and visibility and change that decentralized spending of their business to be something much more agile and orderly and efficient. But it's not done with AI. What we're doing is giving them access to the data. And we're giving them very detailed data of who made which purchase, when, for how much, and control over that. And so what finance gets from Soldo is the ability to get a view of data and a level of data that's not been available before. And with that, they could upload that. It actually integrates with a number of accounting tools, but also you could easily integrate this with an AI tool or even a business intelligence tool to get further insights outside of, we have a number of dashboards and analytics within the platform, but you could tie this to other numbers throughout your company to understand or to try to predict future models. It could easily be brought into AI, but it's really about providing, I guess, the fuel for the AI, which is the structured data that finance needs in order to drive the analysis of company spending.
Yeah. So let's say, for somebody who's watching us now, there may be a few people watching us who are in some of those departments you said that are already starting to make use of it. There may be probably some people watching us from finance, where, as you say, they're perhaps using it less now. For somebody who is curious about AI in a business, who can see that they might want to use it but not quite sure where to start or how to go about it, what's the key piece of advice you would give to somebody like that now, to say, okay, as you set out on your AI journey, these are the things you have to keep in mind. These are the things you have to get right.
Yeah, it is one that people should make some plan for, because I think right now, and what we've seen and what's driving this spending, this massive increase in the last year, it's a competitive advantage, and it can be for people to really drive productivity. But as we see more and more companies adopting this, it's not going to be a competitive advantage. Using AI will be business as usual. So you need to make a plan for how do we do that. Now, I would say for finance, before they're worried about their AI strategy, they need to worry about their data strategy. Do you have your data in a place that you are able to gather all of the data? Are you working through multiple sources in your company, or do you have everything together in a single platform where you can easily access the spending data you need? So worry about your data strategy, and once that's in order, you can think about how do we add AI to finance. To the other departments you mentioned, they do need to remain competitive. And it's not about AI taking jobs. It's about people who know how to do their job with AI and do their job better because of it. So I would say it's about having a path to access these tools. Both maybe there's some strategic tools of the company, but also, is finance providing an easy enough path that a marketer or a salesperson can do a one-off job, these ad hoc purchases that they don't have to spend 6 weeks going through procurement processes just to achieve a task that could be done very simply for a small purchase with an AI tool. So can you provide the path for ad hoc purchases of AI to really drive productivity and help everyone do their jobs a little bit better?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody can see, and we all know, even if you can't always define it, AI is going to bring enormous benefits to every department within an organisation at one time or other. For anybody who's watching this, I will just reassure you, Brandon and I are real. We are not AIs. You are still going to have people there who are going to be essential to making this work. Brandon, thank you for being one of those people and coming along and sharing your thoughts and experiences about how organisations are spending on AI.
Sure. Thank you, Brian.
That's all we've got time for in this video. Hopefully we've helped to give you some food for thought around how AI may be useful to your business, and maybe some pointers as to how you can go about starting down that road yourself. Thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye.